All right, so this is pretty well the finished product. This is the setup that we're going to use, finished product. First things first, I have to give a huge thank you to my sponsors. This was quite the feat to put all together. 100% couldn't have done it without everyone coming together and getting motivated and excited about, really just my own little personal goal of trying to do this event. And they didn't have to do that, you know what I mean? Different story. Alex Dowsett going for the world record. Totally different story. Didn't have to do something for me, my own goal, but they did, and I'm very grateful to them. And I have some pretty darn good sponsors. So, into the bike. Right off the bat, we have a modified Speedmax frame, which was rode by Alex Dowsett in 2017 to a world record 1 hour split, 52.5 kilometers. Really beautiful frame. I mean, wish I could take pieces of this anyway and put it onto my Speedmax. Definitely, I like how the bar and everything is all just one piece straight across. Really cool. At the very least, it looks really sleek. Unfortunately, in triathlon, you need brakes, shifting, and these sorts of things, so it's a bit of a difficult to do. So, moving on. Beautiful set of double disc head Volo wheels, handmade, solid carbon. Took several weeks to build because they literally, I did not know this, they literally build these by hand. They glue them together by hand. Absolutely beautiful, amazing. I wish I could ride double disc wheel purely for aesthetic reasons all the time, but they're A, banned in Kona in the back, and B, you'd probably die riding that outside in the front. But on the track, amazing. Interestingly as well, here on the rear cog, they use something I've never seen before. It's made by White Industries. It's a 13 tooth cog, and it doesn't screw on. It's like, you probably have to Google it. Maybe I can put a picture up there, but it's like a star shape that goes on. So it's much different than any cog I'd ever seen. Apparently it's so that there's no risk of stripping it, grips better, all these sorts of things. So, in terms of gearing, this is what I said in the previous video. This is 61 teeth on the front by 13 teeth on the back. This is a custom made chain ring made by Pyramid Cycle Design out of the UK. David had that made for me. Really cool. Ended up having a 58, a 60, and a 61 tooth made to test, and then through testing decided for my cadence choice that 61 teeth would be the optimal amount of teeth. Admittedly though, the day I did do my testing, I didn't have the greatest of legs. I did a 3K TT the night before, drove up to Milton, maybe a little dehydrated, and so I wasn't going super fast, and admittedly, it was actually very difficult to push. But I'm hoping when I'm tapered and everything, my cadence will go up to, let's say, for that particular effort, I averaged 87 and went a little over 50 kilometers an hour. And I'm hoping for the actual attempt, my legs will be a little better and be able to push more power through that chain ring and bring it up to right into my optimal cadence of 88 or 89. Actual chain or crank. This is a beautiful Vision Metron crank. Super aero, as you can see. Actually had it modified. 4i was kind enough, and also did on very short notice, was able to put a 4i left-sided power meter onto it so I can at least get data. Obviously, I would love to have dual-sided, which is what I usually ride, but I mean, there's no way that we can put another thing. There's nothing to attach to, so one-sided works great. It was great for my testing on the track. gave me good data, and then it also allowed me to sort of get a sense, even though during the event I won't be able to see any data, it at least gives me a sense of when I'm going at, let's say around 50 kilometers an hour, I know how much, or have a good sense of how much wattage I'm pushing, and also I know at about 87 RPMs, both what speed I'll be going as well as approximately how much power I'm pushing. So really thankful that they were able to do that for me real quick. Pedals, Shimano Dura-Ace. These are +5 millimeter coming out, offset pedals. I tend to ride, if you see me ride, I ride like my knees come out wide a lot, and so I haven't had me start, well, I used them for a while, then I made a switch. Now I've switched back to them because, as I said in an earlier video, I was starting to develop a bit of, and I still am trying to get rid of it, a bit of tendonitis here right at my knee, and we thinking, having gone back to a normal pedal, actually had a different cleat and everything, we're thinking at the very least that, played a role in that. And so we went back to what was tried and true and tested, good solid cleat to pedal pairing, using I think it's 6 degrees, or is it 2 degrees of float? Anyways, it's the black and blue cleat that I'm using, Shimano cleat. So that's that. Obviously the ISM 3.0 saddle, I've been riding ISM stuff for a long time now, very comfortable, excellent for TTing. On the front end, using, as I said in the previous video, I had 40 mils of spacers in there, took out 20, so now I'm at just plus 20 mils off the base bar. I would love to, if I had more time, this has really opened my mind up to I guess how useful the Velodrome is and how we could put this to use for our testing in the future, and I certainly will. Just because I was able to do little tests on my own of 4 or 5K and actually see changes. And so it's something I would like to continue to do, because if I had more time, I'd pull that 20 mil spacer out too and see what happens. But I don't have enough time. Unfortunately, this is not my job. I love cycling, but it's only 1/3 of my job. And I've got to get back to doing the other 2/3 as well, to the best of my ability. So everything is set in stone now. In terms of extensions, I believe it's a Canyon-made extension. It's like a lazy, I think kind of like a lazy S-bend extension. I actually on my TT bike ride a J-bend, which I really like. It gives me a more, almost like I feel like I'm like a fist type thing, as opposed to this one. I feel like I'm a little more forward, which I prefer this. Mind you, aerodynamically, once again, something that we could test. But they're illegal by UCI regulations, because the maximum that your extensions can come up from the middle, if you measure up from the middle of the pad and directly across to your extension, is 10 centimeters, and those are pretty well exactly 10 centimeters above. So that is the legal limit. No one in UCI who you see in professional time trialing has extensions any higher than that. I think they cheat the system a little bit by moving the pad further up onto their forearm to make that distance, I guess, less, but I find that to be extremely uncomfortable. And so this is how I settled on that. Not much to talk about because it doesn't have any components, which is actually one of the beauties of the track and of a track bike, is once you get it set up, there's not much to go wrong. I mean, the maintenance isn't too difficult. I don't know how to tune a bike very well, so maybe track is my thing. Maybe that's what I was supposed to do. So that's the bike. Absolutely amazing, a dream to ride. Wish I had more time to do this endeavor and to devote myself to it longer, but I did 2 months worth of training, and then I think it'll end up having been, I got 4 practice sessions in, and I'm grateful that I was able to do that. And so now it's just gonna boil down to, when the gun goes, keep the head down, hold the black line to the best of my ability, and try and rip that crank arm off to the absolute best of my ability for 1 straight hour. And I mean, additionally, it's amazing how much goes into one of these things. I mean, I can't even imagine for these world record attempts just how much effort and people and manpower goes into these things. Because even for my little one, I mean, this has been a big, stressful undertaking. There's so much behind the scenes that goes into it. And so I also got to give a big thanks to Ivan O'Gorman, who's given me huge help with designing and everything that I needed for the position. Cycle Culture, my bike shop, they did this on like a day's notice, putting all this stuff together. Tubular Tires, which I didn't speak on, which I should speak on. They got the Tubular Tires on for me in basically 2 days notice. And so they've been great. They'll be at the track with me in case we gotta do any last minute changes due to whatever UCI type stuff. And then of course David Tilbury Davis gave me huge help in my training and everything. Maybe we can cut it in or just not cut it in, but you'll notice Tubular Tires. This particular one is the Vittoria Pista with graphene 2.0s. Pretty fast tire, but we're gonna go on the day with like the fastest tire, supposedly. I guess there's one faster now, but you can't get your hands on it. The Vittoria Pista Evo is what we'll ride. 23 mil, pump them up to about 140 PSI. And so that'll be exciting to put those on too for my final, the morning of, and see if there's maybe a little noticeable speed bump there. But that's it. That's about it. And just excited to stop talking and start smashing pedals. And so that's what we're going to do. And so tentatively, and of course it's extremely tentatively because at any time things can change these days. And so tentatively we are going to do the attempt on October 23rd at about 12:30 p.m. This is of course, we get the officials to sign up and everything, but it looks pretty good, like we're gonna get it to go. And we're hoping to have, and we should have, a live stream that'll start 10 or 15 minutes before, so around 12:15, Friday, October 23rd. Hopefully have a couple of guests on the show. The whole thing will be obviously the actual attempt, and then maybe like a post-race kind of interview. So tune in for that. I think it'll be fun. We'll try and make it exciting so you just don't have to watch me go in circles for 200 and however many laps. But anyways, it's gonna be fun, and then we're gonna have to get back to triathlon training. So stay tuned.